Hound podcast, episode 2. We are here at the historic McSorley's Old Ale House, New York City. We have my business partner here, Matt, from Flagship Brewery from Wolfhound here. And these two good-looking gentlemen to my left is Pepe, correct?
Hey, yeah. Most people call me Knucklehead.
Oh, Knucklehead, that's great.
Yeah.
And Shane as well here from McSorley's. Thank you guys very much for giving us the opportunity to come and talk to you.
Yeah, welcome, Wolfhound. Welcome to McSorley's Old Ale House.
Our pleasure.
Well, thank you very much. So like we said before, we kind of keep it open format, but obviously there's so much history in this place. We're not going to be able to get to it, to everything today, or even probably 5% of it. So, I figured maybe, Pepe, we start with you. From what I hear, you've been here for a little bit, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about the early history of this place and, what it's been like to be a part of it.
Everybody that lived in this neighborhood when we were growing up couldn't wait to be of age or near of age to come in here. This is where all the good-looking women were hanging out. Yeah, because I didn't turn 18 till 73. And by that time, women were just starting to come in. It opened to women in 1970.
That's right.
Okay, but women weren't into this shit. This is a place was full of old men, snarkly old men. They used to come in here and who hid from their wives because the wives knew that women weren't allowed, so they didn't feel bad about their husbands, except for the fact that the husbands would come home drunk and horny.
Right. Well, it's better. I guess they came home, which was a good thing.
It was a win-win situation for these babushka.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I mean, this place looks like the ultimate hangout for guys. So it's it definitely makes you want to sit down and have some drinks.
Nobody sat not facing this wall. Everybody faced this wall because they had the picture of the naked woman and the parrot.
Yeah, she's still up there. That's right.
That's right.
How long that picture's been here? A long time?
That picture got me through puberty. It was actually painted by a student at Cooper Union.
Really?
Cooper Union is a school across the street that was opened a year before McSorley's opened, 1853.
Yeah. Cooper's got his name all over everything here.
He was a contemporary of John McSorley, the original owner. John McSorley let Peter Cooper bring his own chair here because it had a cushion on it. Peter Cooper was older. All these other chairs, Goldilocks wouldn't have sat on these things.
Yep.
Because they were all too hard.
Is the chair still here?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, but we'll have Shane talk about that.
Right.
He's the resident librarian, so to speak.
That's right.
And he's very good at it.
That's right.
Showing us some of the artifacts.
He was showing us some stuff before, which we'll be able to get into too, which is great.
He is good. He makes this place what it is because he knows. People come in here and they ask me, "What's your favorite artifact?" And my favorite artifact is them, because I know all of these things.
Yeah.
I don't know them. I find people interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's a big part of this business, right? I mean,
unquestionably.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny for a place, and just from the outside, I mean, I've obviously been here drinking, but I've never met you guys before. But the conversation we were having when we were setting up and how you keep in touch with all the regulars and how many regulars you have in here, because to a lot of people, it looks, like it's McSorley's, it's a tourist place. A lot of people come in. But at the end of the day, I guess the meat and potatoes are always the people that are, the regulars that are in and out.
Unquestionably. They make this place. People say what a great place. I go, it's because of you.
Yeah.
The fact that you love it.
And you can say we're touristy, but we have regulars that come in from, I have a regular that comes in from Manchester, just left last week. We got 2 regulars that come in from Germany every year, multiple time years. Regulars comes in from Arizona, Texas, California. Our longest serving regular, Mike Russo, has been coming in from the Little Italy for 60 plus years.
Wow.
Started drinking here in 1951, I believe.
Wow.
And his Marine hat still hangs behind the bar. The fact that the bar doesn't have music, doesn't have TVs, it really induces conversation.
Yeah.
You really have to get to know your patrons when they come in here.
Yeah, I was actually when I was over in Dublin, they would kind of taught me how to make nitro beer at Porterhouse over there. And that was great because I always asked the cab drivers, like, you know, what's the best pub to go to? Because I figured you'd really get the inside info. And a lot of people kept saying this one pub called the Diggers.
Grave Diggers.
Yeah, it's right in the cemetery. It's an amazing place. Really cool spot. But again, there's no music, no TVs. I sat in there, an American guy from New York that's been to Dublin for, I would think I was there 48 hours, something like that. And 4 or 5 people just walked up to me and said, like, hey, where are you from? And I wound up sitting there for about 4 hours and just shooting the shit with people and talking. And, you know, that's, to me, that's pub culture. That's what it's all about. It's getting to know people and sitting down, having a few.
That's the ultimate icebreaker. Hey, how you doing? Where you from?
Yep.
And the world gets smaller.
Yeah.
Fast.
Yep.
There's not too many places that exist like that anymore.
And like you're talking about bars in Dublin, like, and how many people like try to encapsulate what we do here in McSorley's Old Ale House. You go to the Palace Bar in Dublin as well. Great pint of Guinness just off Fleet Street. They have a painting of McSorley's in the back room, and they use our motto, be good or be gone, because we hold that very true today. We don't allow anyone to mess around in the bar. If we think they're getting a little unruly, they're gone, and we don't care who they are.
Yep.
You know, we have strict guidelines here. We want to make sure everyone has a good time here, and we use be good or be gone just to enforce those rules.
Yeah, it's a great motto.
I get customers that were pissed off because they were never thrown out of here.
That's a good thing.
I'll throw you the fuck out. Just give me a $20 bill. I'll throw you out twice for 40.
Yeah, whatever you like. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can get you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and back to what you were saying too before with you know, just the regulars here. I mean, you have some of them are still behind the bar. You said, right?
Yeah, one of our first regulars that Pepe would have served them is Bobby Bowles, who passed away in 80. When did he pass away? 85, 86?
Roundabout. Bobby was the soul of the West Village.
Yeah.
A fucking character and a half. He used to go around and steal, and make sculptures out of them.
Some of those sculptures are still in the Triangle on Broom Street.
Right?
Really?
Yeah.
And we have one of them here in the bar right above our heads, actually, this evening. And this is actually Bobby's remains right here.
And this is him in the flask right here?
Yeah. After he passed away, he
Most of his remains.
you'll see his initials BB on it, Bobby Bowles.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Look at that.
Bobby Bowles.
That's amazing.
Don't drink it, Jack.
Yeah, no, don't worry. Yeah, I mean, and this isn't the only person you have back there, right?
No, multiple. Like a lot of people want to be left here because of the connection they have with the bar over the
Sure.
170 years. I think we're up to like 17 right now behind the bar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of them are just like small little vials and stuff like that. But we have guys. So we had a customer in last Saturday, and they came in and said they wanted to sit down with Doug, and it was a whiskey flask as well on the corner of the bar. And we took it down for them. We gave it to them. They sat down. They had 2 beers. They put 2 beers in front of Doug. They come in every year to have a drink with Doug.
Wow, that's amazing.
All regular.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, and I guess it's also people that grew up here. This is such a big part of the neighborhood that it's someplace you'd want to be.
Unquestionably.
You know,
Unquestionably.
we were just talking before. Maybe I'll bring a little bottle of Matt back here once he goes. I'll have a few beers with you as well.
Like the old name of the bar was the Old House at Home. It was for all the Irish immigrants and immigrants in general. So they had a place to come to and hang out and drink.
Yeah.
We still remember them by doing things like this. And this area is very patriotic in particular. Like this area has seen the Civil War. This bar has seen the Civil War, World War I, World War II. If you go down 50 feet from McSorley's, there's a plaque on the wall to all the World War II veterans that died on this block alone. And there has to be 60 names on it. And here in McSorley's, we have our wishbones from 1917 when the U.S. entered the First World War. The owner gave everybody a free meal. They hung up a wishbone as a good luck charm before they were deployed. And as they'd returned from the war around 19, they would have come back in, grab their wishbone and snap it. That was their wish, get through the Great War. The wishbones we have here are the men who never made it back to take them down. So we left them here. And they were untouched until 2011 when the health department made us clean them. But we still clean them, we still maintain them, and the wishbone's still there and they still stand true to what they represented back in 1919.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. And I remember when Bloomberg made them do that, people were not happy about that headline in the newspaper. But yeah, I mean, there they still are. And that's all of them right there on that, that's amazing. Yeah, this place is just so much history in it. It's, you know, every time you look somewhere else, it's something different.
There are so many great bars in New York. And everybody's got a story of their favorite. Your bar will have these same stories. And a lot of friendships are made, a lot of good memories, a lot of memories that you're not going to remember because you were too fucked up to remember them.
That's that much.
I don't know if we'll be around 170 years.
But that's why you go out with your friends.
Yep.
They'll remember a piece, you'll remember a piece, and eventually you'll all remember a piece, and then you'll fucking forget it again.
Then you'll sit around the next time and talk about it as you're getting messed up again.
Plain and simple.
That's it. It's a simple formula, but it works. That's for sure.
This bar in particular, like, we're like a landmark to old New York. So the original owners, John, Bill, and even the Kerwins and now the Marr family, anything that they can preserve of pieces of old New York, they've tried to keep to hold true what New York was. And some of the stuff we have some of the overground L train that was torn down on 3rd Avenue. The owner wanted to keep that, so he took a chunk of the actual railway line.
Wow.
We have the Bible House mantelpiece in the back when they tore that down in 1956. Harry Kerwin went in and chipped that out to remember that building when it was being torn down. So we always try keep like a little piece of history of New York, and it's all here on our walls. And you were talking about Peter Cooper's chair behind the bar. Abraham Lincoln actually sat in that chair in 1860 after coming to the bar after his right makes might speech in Cooper Union. Peter Cooper brought him to McSorley's to meet the locals. Wow. And he sat in that chair, and that chair was put up there after Peter Cooper passed away in the 1900s.
Wow, and that's it right up there behind the bar. Wow.
We do have a newspaper announcing Abraham Lincoln's death too, 1865, and the wanted poster for John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah, that's right.
1865.
Yeah, there's so much here.
I couldn't stop looking around.
This area in particular in the Civil War, because the Irish Regiment were based right across the street from Cooper Union and Tompkins Square Market. So we have a lot of stuff from the Civil War and the Irish Regiment in particular. We have a saber from the 69 Regiment that would have been a part of dated 1863. So that was when the draft riots happened. Shortly after that, they were marched down to DC.
Yep.
Thomas Francis Marr, giving him the name the Fighting 69, and that regiment's still coming in to this day. And we had we were talking about the turkey dinners earlier. 3 of the commanders of the 69 Regiment redid that meal before they were deployed to Somalia about 5 years ago, and they came back in and took their wishbones down because they came back from the war.
Wow, that's a incredible story as well. Yeah, I read the Immortal Irishman. I think we spoke about this the first time we talked on the phone when we were planning this. And I'll tell you, man, I don't know if you've ever read that book about Thomas Francis Moore. It's you just realize how unexciting your life is. I mean, this guy, from his early roots in Ireland as kind of a revolutionary, and then, pretty much being not really in prison, but just like, where was he? In Australia?
He was in prison. No, he was captured. He led the Famine Rebellion of 1848, and he actually initially was sentenced to death by the English. And the US got involved, and they, instead of executing him, they shipped him to Van Diemen's Land, Australia. Van Diemen's Land, right. And he actually escaped out of Australia and came here to New York in 1850. So he would have been in this pub in around 1854 to sometime definitely during the Civil War, when Michael Corcoran and himself marched the regiment down to the Civil War in 1863.
Yeah, because the Irish in Manhattan were pretty happy to see him when he got here. From
marched down Broadway.
Yeah, pretty amazing stuff. And then he wound up, wasn't he like the first governor of like Montana, right? And then he died like kind of he fell off a boat. They said like, they thought that guy there might have had something to do with it.
Yeah, there was a little controversy about his death, whether he was drinking and fell off the boat or he was pushed off the boat.
Yeah, because there was like kind of words that he might go back to Ireland and try to like get things going over there again. I think was kind of the thought why he might have been killed. Well,
they started the Fenian raids in 1866 on Canada because of that. They have a fully trained regiment now here of Irishmen that now know how to fight and have military tactics. And we actually have a war bond from 1866, same building that Cooper Union with Abraham Lincoln did his right make spite speech. The Fenian Brotherhood met there in 1866 to get a regiment together to go do raids on Canada and fight England on this side of the water.
Wow.
Yeah, we have one of those bonds as well. It's like a small little bond that you probably would just go unnoticed, but it's another part of Irish history in New York that we have.
The history's all behind it. It's amazing. Shane, what's your favorite piece of memorabilia in this place? Like an actual physical piece that you think is...
There's so many. Like the fact that I love to be able to put my hands on this history. That's what I love.
Yeah.
I'm cleaning down these. I get to, like last week I was cleaning the 1815 London Times, and I actually reread it, The Battle of Waterloo.
Wow.
You know, it's Napoleon's declaration that he faced, or it's the Duke of Wellington's declaration that he faced Napoleon in battle, and it's his entire depiction of the battle is fantastic. The Brooklyn Bridge invitation, the wishbones to me, because they were our regulars.
Yeah.
You know, and to this day, like we've got a lot. We love our military here. We've always had the wishbones, and we have plenty of challenge coins behind the bar for the different ranks and people coming in through the door. And actually, this beret was given to us not long after the attacks on 9/11. This beret belongs to General John Mulholland, and he was one of the men who led the first attack on Afghanistan after the towers were hit.
Wow.
If you've seen the movie 12 Strong with Chris Hemsworth, William Fichtner played General Mulholland.
Wow.
And he comes in here quite regularly, and he actually the beret generally sits on Kennedy's head. We have a Yankee hat on it right now, kind of, for sports reasons. But that beret will go right back on Kennedy's head, and he actually sends family and friends in to make sure his beret is still there.
Does he?
Yeah.
Is he a New York guy or no?
I believe he's either Maryland or DC or around that area, but he pops in quite regularly. The last time he was in was the 20th anniversary of 9/11. He came in the following week and wrote a lovely little piece in our logbook behind the bar. We have multiple logbooks over the years of different regulars and people that have been through the bars, just to kind of keep track of who we've had here over 170 years. And he wrote a lovely piece on the anniversary of 9/11.
Very nice. Very nice.
Again, as Pepe has said, it's like, what do we love the most here? We love our customers, because each one brings a different story. Each one brings a different artifact or something that the bar can talk about.
Sure.
History is it's a content that never stops.
Yeah.
So.
Just by looking at the walls, you can see what the ownership at the time enjoyed or honored or cherished. I take one look and I can see if John McSorley put it up, William McSorley put it up, the Kerwins put it up, the Mars put it up, just by taking a fast peek, not just by date, but by different interests at different times. You know, John McSorley, the original owner, loved the theater, and the theater district was here on the Bowery. It moved gradually to where it is now. But we had a team in here called Harrigan and Hart, famous playwrights. They had to put on a show practically every month because stuff got old fast. It's not like the Phantom of the Opera playing for 30 some odd years. They wanted it to boom, 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 boom. And they were prolific and they were customers. They even wrote one about McSorley's called McSorley's Inflation. Blows my mind. It blows my mind that John McSorley, this immigrant, loved the theater, but he had access to it. All he had to do was go to the corner.
Yeah.
You know, and see a show.
Well, I mean, and also the theater back then was a lot bigger than I guess it is now. I mean, just entertainment back then wasn't so easily as you walk into your house and flip a switch. You know?
Exactly. And look and watch and hear these podcasts.
That's right. Yeah. A lot of content out there. You know?
A lot.
Filtering through is a problem these days. Yeah.
And then you go through the Kerwin family, who clearly loved sport and boxing in particular. We've signed pictures from Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney in the bar. Of course, that was the long count, the famous fight. We've got a signed photograph from Nat Fines of Babe Ruth's last day in Yankee Stadium behind the bar in 1948 that ended up winning the Pulitzer. Nat Fines was a regular here, and that's how Harry Kerwin actually got that photograph signed.
That's the one right behind the bar?
Right behind the bar, yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
I like the fact that we've entertained and they've entertained us. Writers.
Yeah.
Guys like, what's his face there?
Brendan Bean.
No, Frank McCourt.
Frank McCourt.
Frank McCourt,
I'll get to Brendan. But Frank McCourt was a regular. He was a poor school teacher at Stuyvesant High School.
Yeah.
He writes a book, right? And it becomes a bestseller for over 260 some odd weeks in the New York Times.
Los Angeles, is that right behind me too? I thought I just saw something over here before as well.
Yeah, just up to your right there. Right underneath Grant.
Yeah, I caught it, before.
You have a nice picture of Frank on the wall there. He looked like $1 million, and unfortunately, his wealth wasn't good for him. He got sick. He passed it along to his family and what have you, but he died after a few years of reaching this. It's like an artist, you know, you gotta die to be famous.
Yeah.
But he was such a nice person. He used to meet here with other writers. And we were all so happy for him when he became famous.
So when did that like really hit the bestsellers list? When was that? So I'm not. I mean, I know obviously I know Angel's there, so I'm just not sure. Like when did that?
The 90s.
It was the 90s.
I think as far
Okay.
as that, and we still have some of his students that he taught come in here.
Wow.
They like to sit there and look at him.
Yeah.
Because he was not only was he a great teacher, he was just a nice person. You know, I never had a problem. No, nothing. His brother lived right behind us.
Oh yeah.
His brother, Malachi, he just died. I don't know how this guy did it because somebody was always smoking pot back there since the 70s. For all I know, it could have been Malachi.
It might have been him that whole time.
But it comes in here through our air conditioning system.
Yeah.
You can get a buzz almost any day in here.
Yeah. Well, it comes in through everywhere at all times in New York City now. So
Yeah.
it permeates it all. You know.
Other writers, even E. Cummings back in the 20s, wrote in McSorley's The Dirty Old Snug, proving that we were open during Prohibition. And during COVID, one of our historians here actually found receipts from malts and barley that Bill McSorley purchased in 1929. Another writer that Pepe would have served would have been Joseph Mitchell, who wrote the book McSorley's Wonderful Old Saloon in 1948.
Yeah, you were just telling me about that.
Yeah, he was a good guy. Came up from North Carolina, regular Joe Blow from Idaho, but only he's from whatever. And he would sit and he would listen. He had a great ear for people. And he wrote extensively from the New York Magazine. And they put a lot of his short stories together. And it's still being published to this day.
Yeah, you were saying a lot of the information from that he pulled right from the New York Library, right?
Yeah, Joseph Mitchell was when he was putting the information together for the book 1948. Harry Kerwin would have gave him a lot of that information. And there's actually one of the last pieces that our historian read was in 1977 when Matthew Maher bought the bar off of Danny Kerwin. Matty has now bought the bar. I could either give this information to Matty or I could just keep it for myself. And it's in the public library, so he must have just kept it for himself. Our historian is going through piece by piece just to find out little different facts and figures about the bar.
Sure. Yeah. And Pepe, how long have you been here for?
Presently 51 years.
Wow.
But I started at the top. I was in charge of the shit house. Hey, you laugh, but you know how important it is when you're drinking ale?
I could, yes. I mean, I actually do know how important that is. Yeah.
Before women were allowed, we had one bathroom. We shared it for 15 years. And you let 3 guys use the 3 urinals and 2 women use 2 stalls. Very important.
Were you here the first time a woman came in here?
You know, there's so many stories about who the first woman was. And if you read Joe Mitchell, it was a woman that sold peanuts. Sally Roasted Peanuts was the first woman in here. And that goes back before 1939. And a woman owned the place for 30 years. Women get teed off. Oh, this is the place that didn't let women in until 1970. Society was different. History was different.
Yeah.
You know, get with the program, you know, don't stop arguing. It's like today's politics. People come up with all kinds of crap to justify what they're trying to get across, but know your facts.
Yeah.
I think everyone was worried back in 1940 when Daniel O'Connell, who was the man who bought the bar off of Bill McSorley, when he passed away, his daughter inherited the bar, and everyone thought everything was going to change here. Was she going to bring in booze? Was she going to, you know, change it, bring women in and stuff like that? But she stayed true to what Dan O'Connell did, and he just respected his wishes and didn't allow women in for another, 30 years. You know?
Good ale, raw onions, and no ladies.
Yep.
That's one of the models.
And it's how the bars really survive. Like even the biggest bars in the world, the most like well-known, oldest bars in the world. I love the Brazen Head in Dublin. I love Sean's Pub in in Athlone. That's the oldest bar. I got, the Old Mitre and the Cheshire Cheese in London. Every one of them have adapted to customers over the 200 plus years and more than they've been open. They brought in wine, they bring in liquor, they bring in music, they bring in TV. In McSorley's, people have adapted to us, the way we do things, with no music, no TV, cash only. Walking into McSorley's today is like walking into McSorley's back in 1854.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what makes it unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, along with all the people that are obviously here, but staying true to that motto and just good beer, good conversation, good people is something you could say is timeless, I guess.
And I love the question. It's like, who's older? Like, is Pete's older than you? Is Francis Tavern older than you? Is the year in? Like, here, this is great. Competition drives. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
It's like people will pop into all of them. So it's great. What we've done is staying true to what we've done for 170 years.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean that's true. And I mean, I'm a huge fan, one, of history, two, obviously, of beer in general, but just as I said before, pub culture. So to me is McSorley's, all those other bars you mentioned, Francis, Pete's, they're all a part. And what Pepe mentioned before, of New York City history and all the people that have been involved in all those places and making them what they are. So, to sit down and have a beer in a place that has been serving people the right way for a long time really enhances the experience on my end.
Yeah, and our actually brewer to brewer, John McSorley, actually his first career in America in 1851 was a brewer. Wow. He worked in the Greater Brewery up on 2nd Avenue in 1851, and he actually created the cream stock ale in 1852.
Wow.
And then opened a tavern in 1854.
Well, there you go. He knew his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I guess he tested the ale out before he see it was going to work before he opened the tavern.
Yeah, well, it's a lot quicker to make than lager, so the turnover that I'm sure you guys are used to in here is pretty conducive to that. So
it's always just been light or dark, right?
So there was a very short period where they served liquor, but when John took a little trip, and when he came back, he was like, "If you want to serve liquor, open your own pub," and that was it.
That was him talking to his son.
Really?
Yeah.
And Bill McSorley was the main man here from the 1870s until he sold the bar, until he sold the pub in 1936.
And that's the son.
That's the son, Bill McSorley.
And he was the one that wanted to serve liquor for a little bit?
He did.
He did.
And then Daddy came home and said, "Take a hike until you serve ale. It's good enough."
Wow. And so for everybody, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have been in McSorley's, but people who have not, you also serve beer in a different way that's, you'd get anywhere else. You get kind of two beers in one. So what's the history behind that?
Pretty much dates back, if you actually read McSorley's Wonderful Old Spoon by Joseph Mitchell, it talks about Bill, and he's a little eccentric, and he would have two chairs behind the bar, and if he was reading an article and somebody would come in, he would give people two beers and then he'd go to the other chair so he could start reading again. But they were served in different steins back then. They were served in pewter mugs. They were bigger. And then over the years, it changed. We went from pewter to ceramic, and you'll see photographs in the bar where people have one mug. One mug was always on offer, but two when it was busy. And then when they changed in the late 30s, early 40s, they went 2 for 1 when they went to glass. Everybody got 2 glasses. 2 glasses, the equivalent of 1 stein.
Yeah,
and that was during the Kerwins.
Yeah, I remember my first time in here and being served that. And I was kind of like, I mean, I'll drink them.
Yeah.
There's not a day that doesn't go by that somebody says, "Why do I have 2 beers?" And they're like 2 for 1. They're like, "Oh, great."
They're always going to turn that down.
Yeah. I always tell them, buy 1, get 1 free.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. You can't.
And then you see their faces. Oh, okay,
Just today, though, just for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to ask too, because I've always been very curious, and I've heard different stories. What's the deal with those handcuffs over there? The Houdini handcuffs, as they say.
Harry Houdini was a regular here in the early 1900s. 1904, he came in here, and a local cop recognized him, and he strapped him to the bar. He said, "You get out your own handcuffs. How about you get out of mine?" And then Houdini got out of the handcuffs, and they actually left the handcuffs there. Now, contrary to popular belief, the handcuffs on the bar actually belonged to Daniel O'Connell, who was the local precinct commander during Prohibition, and Bill McSorley's best friend. And when he took over the bar in 1936, he hung Houdini's above the bar on the ceiling. So if you're looking at the old fridge, Be Good or Be Gone, look for the second B and look straight up at the ceiling, and you'll see an old set of handcuffs. And they're the actual handcuffs that Harry Houdini got out of in 1904.
All right. I like it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And these are Dan O'Connell's, which again, great deal of history got to do with the bar. It's the second family to buy the bar in 1936.
Wow. And those handcuffs work. I mean, those are just
They're the
there.
purest handcuffs. Yeah, they've been there.
You know, and it's not like they're not protected. People just hitting them with their feet and everything the whole time.
That's I think why he wanted to put the originals up top, stop people touching them.
Yeah.
Like up on that, in that area, like we got stuff from the Civil War. We've got shackles actually that came back from Andersonville, the Civil War prison in Georgia.
Really?
We have Union soldiers that came back and brought them back in here. Again, another connection to our customers and part of U.S. history.
Sure.
We got stuff behind the bar as well. We've got Purple Hearts, locals that got them from World War II and Vietnam. And when they came back, they wanted them left here, and that's how they wanted to honor them, to put them behind the bar.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much. I mean, just looking behind that bar, there's so many different things you can. And so some of those old ceramics there are some of the old ceramics that you used here.
Indeed. And then there's a few of them that were given out during outings. So we do an annual outing most years. We haven't done it now since COVID, but before that, we used to do it every year, and everyone got a shirt. And then back in the 40s and 50s, everyone got a ceramic mug with it logoed and the date at the time of the McSorley's outing.
Wow, so very nice.
Back then, we have John McSorley's original pewter mug behind the bar. It was a large stein. We got Bill McSorley's pewter mug behind the bar as well. You know, each one is a connection to each customer. Each person has been through this bar, which that's the fascinating thing about this pub.
Oh, it's fascinating. All right. Yeah, I mean, you could stare. You could stare forever. What's that? Oh yeah, is the place haunted? I mean, we got to ask that. Any hauntings here? You seen that meme?
He's the most frightening thing I've seen.
That's true. That's one of the fringe benefits of this job. You get to scare the shit out of people. when cell phones came out, I used to love to bark. No cell phones in here. I wanted people to talk to each other.
Yep.
Not to talk to a cell phone. Now you can't do that because I'm outnumbered.
Yep.
Everybody's got a cell phone. So I just don't think. Keep it down. You're gonna make noise. Take it outside.
Yeah.
But didn't you have a group of customers one day who were sitting beside a celebrity and they were so busy in their phones they didn't realize who they were sitting with, and the girls were crying when they found out who they were sitting out. They didn't even look up to see who they're sitting with, because McSorley's is communal seating. You sit with. We don't care who you are. You get a table. You're going to share it with somebody else. I think it was.
I'm not sure. I don't remember. I met so many people from different celebrities.
I thought it was DiCaprio, wasn't it?
I was going to guess that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, nobody knew he was here. I was working at night, and he sat down in the back near the ladies' room, and he had an entourage with him, but they were all his bodyguards. They were all these big Puerto Rican guys.
Yeah.
And it was just nice, but nobody knew it was him. He wore the hat down and what have you.
It was Mike who said it was one of the girls like nearly started crying when she realized, because again, talking about cell phones, put your phones away when you're in public and just enjoy your environment.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't realize who they were sitting with because they were too busy looking at, right in front of their face.
Yeah, people are losing that art of conversation these days. It's too easy to just zone out.
And then there's some celebrities that love to make scenes.
Yeah.
Just to name a few.
Let's hear it.
Nick Nolte comes in here, he gets banged up. He starts fooling with people, shut the fuck up. All I want to do is drink. Okay, so sorry, Mr. Nolte, you're gonna have to take a hike. He leaves. What happens a few months later? He's starring in a movie that Barbara Streisand is directing, and one of the scenes is shot here.
So you had to let him back in.
I didn't have a choice.
Yep.
And as it was, they didn't even use that scene. They left it on the cutting room floor.
So is the rule, if you get thrown out, you're banned for good, or can you come back the next day if you're good?
Come back the next day, bring more money, and take care of the bartender.
There you go. I like that.
It's that simple.
Yeah, you don't make money kicking people out with a pub.
No, you don't.
Exactly.
You have to keep them in the pub and keep them there. You know,
Yeah,
it's just
kick 'em in.
the bigger or be gone is if they're gone really unruly, and we really have to get rid of them.
Yeah, the pubs on Staten Island where me and Matt are from. I mean, you know, you get kicked out and let back in the next day unless you get the lifetime ban. But there's a few of them. Those people are also, as we call, allergic to alcohol. You know, they should retire.
Yeah, I can count in one hand how many people have actually asked to leave here.
Yeah,
That's a good.
We've had some crazy days, like a lot of fun. St. Patrick's Day is a great day, good energy in the bar. You know, most Saturdays, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the Friday after Thanksgiving, you got regulars that have come in here for, 20, 30, 40 years, getting back together, family, friends, family that come in maybe 4 or 5 initially, and now they're expanded to like 40, 50.
Yeah.
One group in particular that come in June, and obviously I think it was 35 years they've been coming in. Bob Briggs is the guy's name, and his entire family now come down and they take up the entire back room one Saturday in June.
and these are just all people from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right.
These are all coming in from Connecticut or New Jersey.
Yeah, but now they're all scattered.
Right, but they're getting back together for the holidays, so they're
Exactly.
stopping in. Yeah,
I
that's
have a
great,
group
man.
that comes in here on Christmas Eve. I go, what the fuck? All we want to do is go home, but we stay open because they're here. And how do you stop somebody from having a good time and getting together?
No, it's hard to
become a
do.
good night out.
Yeah.
McSorley's becomes kind of like an epicenter of like these people just getting back together and sharing good times. Singing Christmas here is fantastic. Like we have 13 tables here in McSorley's, and there's multiple groups who do it. One of the favorite ones that do it I have is that comes in the Saturday before Christmas. They come in from New Jersey, and they we call them 1,000 Dark group. They drink 1,000 dark beers in 5 hours of being here, and there's like 25 of them, 26 of them. But what they do is they bring out carols, and every table gets a carol book, and they sing carols here for the entire afternoon that they're here. As I said, we 13 tables, 12 days of Christmas. You know, they pair up one table and they'll sing 12, the whole bar singing the 12 days of Christmas. Now there's a group that comes in the Sunday after them from Rockaway, does the same thing. Just this bar is just electric that time of year.
Yeah.
Like, just constant. And even God Bless America, there isn't a weekend here that's not sang here. If you read St. Mark's is Dead by Amy Calhoun, they actually mention that being sung. They can hear it sometimes from St. Mark's. God Bless America coming from this alehouse.
And you get that like constantly.
That's every Friday and Saturday.
Every
night.
Friday and Saturday.
Fridays, there's not a like maybe especially during the holidays when it's really busy. That's every 3 hours that's happening.
Yeah. What time do you guys close at night?
1 o'clock now, but we used to close at midnight
Yeah.
for the longest time.
Yeah. We close we have the brewery, we have a tap room there. We close at midnight. We always have.
We have a church across the street, and we have a community that we're part of.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for them, we do that as well, and it works both ways.
Sure.
They don't give us grief. We don't give them grief. It's very neighborly and commonsensical.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that we didn't open during Prohibition, that it was a speakeasy and this, that, and the other. No, we were open for the entirety of Prohibition. But we didn't open on Sundays. So,
Correct.
and this back room right behind you, that wasn't opened up like that. It was a single door entrance to get into that room, more for like VIPs like Lincoln, Peter Cooper back in the 1800s. That room would have been, on Sundays, would have been an original speakeasy in the 1800s. John McSorley would have let his regulars walk through the building entrance into where the fire exit is now and sit back there, and he'd serve them back there on Sundays when he wasn't supposed to. So like that is an original speakeasy pre-Prohibition.
Yeah. It's amazing. What time do we got here? Because I know these guys got to open their doors at 11. We got 2 minutes? About 5 minutes?
So no one things. No,
Well, that's why we started with that whole thing.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt really wants to know about these ghosts. You got anyone?
like those.
Ghosts. No, I did have an old roommate. I lived upstairs in John McSorley's old apartment for years, and I did have an old roommate that used to say that they suffered from sleep paralysis, where they say there's like a demon.
Yeah,
sitting on your
I get
chest.
that too. I've never seen a demon, but I
Yeah.
have sleep paralysis.
And our historian said that I think one of John McSorley's kids passed away in that room. But I don't know. I've never seen anything.
Yeah.
You know, you hear if the cat was in the window, Houdini's ghost is in the bar. You hear these great
Yeah,
stories. Again, I'm coming from an Irish culture where we're known as the storytellers. So don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. I
That's
guess,
right.
you know?
Exactly. I remember coming in here 2 mornings in a row, and it was burglarized twice.
So 2 days in a row, different people, huh?
Overnight. They drilled a hole through the wall in the back room. How the fuck does nobody hear somebody putting a hole in through the back room? I walked in the first day and it's a roll of quarters. The floor was bowed. So I must have just spooked them.
Yep.
Because the roll of quarters is rolling back and forth. Next day I come back, same friggin' hole, but we plastered it. They went through it again. Another roll of quarters. They were trying to get into a safe that had nothing in it. 2 nights in a row.
There you go. It's a good way to waste some time.
So we got rid of the safe. Now nobody bothers, and they never found them. And we put up a metal for security purposes. I can't tell you what we put up, but nobody can get in now.
Something that stops drills.
There was one girl in particular that worked behind the bar. She's Maddie's daughter. And she used to say she used to feel a hand on her back every now and again behind the pub, behind the bar.
That was me. That was me.
And it was like urging her out like women were despoiled. That's the way she used to put it. She didn't feel like that was just one in particular. But I've never really seen anything.
Ave. Yeah. Good kid. Yeah. My boss had 5 daughters.
Wow.
What a lucky guy. He never got any sleep.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I have 4 kids. We split them up though, 2 and 2. So
Okay.
His daughter Teresa is running the bar since he passed away in 2020.
that's great. Yes, I mean, how many owners have there been since this place's inception? Just
John DeBill, Dan O'Connell bought it. His daughter inherited. Her husband ran it. They passed away in 74 and 75. Their son Dan Corwin took it over, where Matty bought it off him in 77. And Matty had it until 2020. And when he passed away, his family are now running it. Teresa Delahaven Mars running it.
so it's really just 3 families.
Correct.
3 families in 170
That's incredible.
years. And always family run. They always find family members to work. Like when Dan O'Connell passed away and Dorothy took it over, she brought in her husband to run the bar. And then Daniel Kerwin came in to run the bar after they passed away. So it's always been family run and family up to keep McSorley's, the traditions alive here at the bar.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, guys. Well, we don't want to get in the way of you opening your doors to service all the great people I'm sure you're going to have through here. But
We'd rather be talking to you
I'd stay here for hours.
than actually working. Work gets involved with our social lives.
Understood. It happens to me constantly. Is there anything you guys, want to tell people about McSorley's that maybe haven't been here before, that we haven't covered, and anything that means something to you that's kind of special that you want other people to know about this place that you guys are a part of?
100%. And we'll tell them when they come in here.
There you go.
That's it. I like it.
We're not
Draw 'em
telling
in,
you-
Shane. Yeah.
Yeah, not telling you everything about the pub. We're only just telling you little facts and figures about the pub. But there's so many small little intricate details to the bar that we don't share with everybody. We try to figure out each person and try to figure out what they might like. And again, we're a pub first and foremost, more than a museum or anything like that. So we want people to come down and see us. Our food is great, very limited menu. Everything is fresh. We always have a daily special and a daily soup. And where are you getting a burger and fries in New York City for $10 now these days?
Yeah.
Everything is. We're always here to cater to the locals and make sure that look after the neighborhood.
That's great.
Don't believe him. Come in and find out for yourself.
There you go.
There you go.
I love it. Let me ask you quick too, just before we go, because I'm a huge Teddy Roosevelt fan. Was Teddy Roosevelt ever in this bar? Any documentation of that? I mean, he grew up in New York City.
Grew up on 19th Street. Yeah, there's talks about him coming in when he was like police commissioner. He could have walked down, like it's 15-minute walk down from where his house was. We have multiple artifacts from Teddy Roosevelt. We have the newspaper announcing the attempted assassination on Teddy Roosevelt, just right in the middle of the room. And we also have other Roosevelts. We have a thank you letter from FDR behind the bar as well for support during his presidential campaign.
How many presidents have you had in there? Obviously, Lincoln.
We've had 0 presidents. They were all either running for president or before they were president.
Oh.
So we have Lincoln here in 1860. Roosevelt, if he was when he was police commissioner. Kennedy was supposed to be here when he got out of the Navy. Who else? Anyone else? Right?
I'm not that old. I don't go back to 1854.
You didn't know what Lincoln was drinking, no?
As far as I know, Lincoln was a teetotaler.
You're right.
Yeah.
You know, And he had enough things to worry about and think about.
Yeah, that man had a life. So
Alcohol fogged his mind. Yeah, he said he never wanted to drink. But yeah, everyone was here before they were president. What if you want to call them presidents and being through the bar? They're three to name anyway.
yeah,
We've thank you letters from different political figures. Mayor Bloomberg is on our wall a couple of times. Ed Koch.
yeah.
Ed Koch has a lovely signed photograph saying England out of Ireland. Love Ed Koch.
Well, there you go.
And that came back to bite him in the ass. Because the
Say
Post
so.
came back and took that because he reversed courses like most politicians.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
whatever you got to say to keep your
Right,
job is
exactly.
generally the
Thank
way.
you
of it.
letter from Clinton. You know, Al Gore and Kerry's on our wall. You know,
Al Bohr, I call him.
so we've just again pop in. We'll show you something new.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, everybody, if you haven't been here, stop by McSorley's Old Ale House. What's the official address here?
15 East 7th Street or 1 North Tarashchenko Place.
There you go. Very nice. Well, guys, thank you so very much for giving us this time. Really, really interesting stuff. The place is amazing. You guys are even better, and really, really appreciate your time.
Our pleasure.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot. All right.
I like that.